The two most recognizable Toys to Life games are definitely Skylanders and Disney Infinity. Skylanders originally came out in October of 2011, and Disney Infinity would come out 2 years later in August of 2013, which is 2 months before the third installment of Skylanders would release. Whether this is intentional or not, it doesn't really matter because Disney Infinity probably would hurt some of Skylanders Swap Force sales, the game that came out in 2013. Even though Disney Infinity came out this year, Swap Force is still the best-selling Skylanders game. But enough of the history with Disney Infinity and Skylanders. Let's look at both games critically, and I personally will come to a conclusion on which game is better. I mean, it is probably going to be easy for you to guess which game I like. After all, my name isn't Disney Infinity Gamer TV, it's Skylanders Gamer TV, but I want to really look at Disney Infinity with a critical mind, so time for me to actually look at it. I'm not going to let my love for Skylanders influence my final opinion of Disney Infinity. Alright, let's get stuck in. So, let's get to some of the similarities. The biggest and most obvious similarity is that they're both Toys to Life games. I mean, that's pretty obvious, so we're not going to talk about it that much. But let's talk about the toys. Skylanders has 6 Skylanders that I'm aware of that are not originally from Skylanders. So basically every Skylander is from something new that was made by Toys for Bob or Vicarious Visions. While the Disney Infinity roster is made out of a bunch of characters that we already have seen. Characters like Mr. Incredible, Sully, and Mickey Mouse. So Disney has a lot of characters that we've already seen, while Skylanders characters have never really been seen before. Which is better is completely up to you, really. And another similarity is that every single character is different from another. No character has the same moveset, not counting variants and such. But that's about where the similarities end and the differences start. Infinity and Skylanders have a lot of differences, so let's get into... Skylanders has 6 mainline console installments, and Disney Infinity has 3. But Disney Infinity treats its games more like glorified DLC rather than actual new games, calling their later games Disney Infinity 2.0 and 3.0. Skylanders has pretty grounded gameplay. It is a story-based dungeon crawler and platformer game. Disney Infinity is a bit harder to define. It is, for the most part, a sandbox game, make your own adventure type stuff. But there are some story elements. To my knowledge, there are levels, but you have to buy some characters that come with them to get these stories. These things are called playsets, and they grant you new worlds, and there's some sort of story within them. And the levels that they grant you are usually pretty long, sometimes taking hours to complete. Skylanders is not a sandbox series game. It has levels and a definitive end. Disney Infinity is somewhat like Minecraft. That's not the best thing to compare it to, but it's kind of like that. There is no definitive end. There is a definitive end in the story within the levels, but since Disney Infinity is mainly known for the sandbox gameplay, like I said, it's endless. Also, and this is in my opinion, it takes about 2 years to make a fully fledged console game. And Disney Infinity came out 2 years after Skylanders. Again, this is just my opinion, but I do think that if it were not for Skylanders, Disney Infinity probably would not exist. But again, that is just speculation, and I can't say I have anything to prove that. Another opinion piece here, but I think that all the characters in Disney Infinity are pretty interchangeable, and it's pretty arbitrary which one you buy. Because since, like I said, the majority of the gameplay is creating your own experience, it doesn't really matter which character you have because you're making your own levels, so it doesn't really matter what character you have. Skylanders somewhat forces you to use different characters to get more diverse gameplay, where in Infinity, you can use one character, and if you're there for the sandbox part, which is the biggest part of the game, it seems like, you really only need one character. If that's a good thing or a bad thing to you, again, it's up to you. There are some story aspects, like I said, because you can buy levels, but the main focus, it seems like, is that endless sandbox gameplay. I know like I'm trying to sound like I hate Disney Infinity and trying to make it look bad, but I'm just saying what I'm seeing. I mean, if you like sandbox games over dungeon crawler / platformer games, then you should play Disney Infinity over Skylanders, that's 100%. But for me, I prefer Skylanders gameplay over Disney Infinity gameplay. I mean, that's pretty obvious though, that I like Skylanders more. I know a lot of Skylanders fans say they don't like Disney Infinity, but I'm pretty neutral towards it. Do I personally think it's a good game? No. But that's just my opinion. But I do understand why people think that it's better than Skylanders because of how different the gameplay is between the two games. So in this Disney Infinity versus Skylanders battle, I think it really comes down to opinion. Now, obviously, if I was telling you which game to get, I would say Skylanders just because I think it has more to offer as a game. But because of how different the experiences are, it's very hard to recommend one over the other. When it comes to games that are in the same genre, it's pretty easy to recommend one over another. But since these games are from two different genres, it's kind of hard to do that. Still, at the end of the day, I would recommend Skylanders because I think it has more content and more consistent gameplay and more characters to play with. But then again, my name is Skylander Gamer TV, so there might be a tad bit of bias. Also, I just want to mention that I have played Disney Infinity, if you are wondering. I know there are 3 games for Disney Infinity, but I've only played the first one, so maybe it gets better in the later games. Although, to my knowledge, I think that the later releases only added a bit of more story to the game and some characters, so at the end of the day, I don't know if it overly changes the experience. If you're a Disney Infinity fan, that's completely fine. I see why people like the game. It has a bunch of Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars characters in it, and that's pretty awesome. But for me, I'm a Skylanders fan through and through, so I obviously think that Skylanders is better. But anyway guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and thank you guys for watching.